Hello viewers, welcome to another edition of your favorite program, KID-AFAN Salone Discovery in Education, with me, Hamza Toure. In today's edition of the program, we are here at the United Christian Church Private School to talk to school teachers as well as students about the recently announced WASSCE results. Follow us as we make more discovery on this. Hello sir, can you tell viewers your name?
I am Mr. Kanu from UCC Private School.
Okay, so Mr. Kanu, the results were recently announced, and it was announced that the pass rate was about 74%. What are your views about this year's WASSCE results?
Well, this year's WASSCE results, the performance was good, but again, it was very poor, especially in terms of English language, because most of the pupils, the candidates, failed English language. About 60-something% failed English language. I think it's only about, according to the analysis, about 11.4% passed English. So they failed English language woefully.
Okay, so considering the fact that all the other subjects which are taught to the students are normally taught in English, I mean, how does this analysis or this data that only 11% of the students passed English, how does that reflect on, the practical, the way English is taught to students in the schools?
Indeed, it is surprising because almost all of the subjects are being taught in English language. And seeing the performance in English, very woeful, very poor, it's really very much surprising because we are expecting them to actually have performed well, but it's the opposite. I think it's the technicalities that are involved in terms of English language. Maybe that is why, because they have to look at punctuation marks, they have to look at spelling mistakes, they have to look at how you construct your sentences, expressions, and all of those, even mechanical accuracy. I think all of those they take into consideration. So probably that is the main problem, why they fail the subject. Yeah.
Okay, so of course the government has the policy of free and quality education. Now let's look at the quality aspect of the education. If a school teaches a kid to the point that that kid is brilliant enough to get, let's say, an A1 in mathematics or an A1 in other subjects like biology, chemistry, physics, why should such a student be deprived of going to the university for, to further his tertiary school education simply because he failed English? What are your views on that?
Well, I think based on the poor performance in English language, I think the university should have give concession. They should have given concession to some of the students, especially who had passes or who had passed in English language. Because in my own opinion, simply because the performance is very poor, I think they should have considered those that got E8 and also D7 pass, because the performance there is very poor. So they need to, in my opinion, I think they should have considered them because they passed all other subjects with the exception of English language. So I think universities or colleges should have considered those that had passed in English. Yes, considering the poor performance in English language, they should have given them a concession. They should have considered them.
Okay, how do you think the university policy that students must pass or must at least have C4 or C6 in English for them to be admitted to the university, how do you think that affects the quality of education in the country?
Well, I think the criteria in entering into the university, it is in place because they have their own set standards, set conditions that a candidate must have 5 credits that will qualify him or her to go to the university or to any college. So if the candidates did not get that, including English language and mathematics, yes, the candidates should not enter the university because it's their own policy. But I want to suggest that they also consider when the performance is very poor, I think they should consider those that are the pass. Yes, so at least for the number to be increased in terms of enrollment into the university or into colleges. So I think they should consider those that are the pass, because definitely they pass, even though they did not get the set requirement, which is C6 or better, but they actually passed the subjects plus other subject that they actually passed. So I think they should have considered them.
Okay, so comparing this year's WASSCE results to last year's for your school, which do you think was much better?
I think last academic year results was very excellent, was very, very good as compared to this one. Yes, this one, our performance again is good, is very good, because we got about 90 to 98% of our candidates passed, with the exception of this English language that is a nationwide issue that affected the entire country. Yes, but our performance last year was very much excellent. It was very good than this one.
Okay, so what message would you like to send to your kids who are watching you right now?
Well, I want to encourage the school-going pupils, especially the WASSCE students or WASSCE candidates, for them to study hard, for them to work hard, for them to try to improve in terms of this English language. Let them practice this continuous writing, because I think continuous writing will earn them more marks. That will enable them to get better grades, for them to pass English language, for them to get a requirement into the university. So I want to encourage them to study very hard, to practice English, because English is an everyday subject, just like mathematics. Because if you don't practice it, then it will not help them. So I want to encourage them to continue to practice English language, especially continuous writing, that will earn them more marks so that they will pass the subject.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kano.
My name is Elizabeth Miata Toka.
Okay, so Elizabeth, you sat to the WASSCE. First of all, how was your result?
I can say it was good, although the English was a bad performance, yeah.
Okay, so of course, as you heard Mr. Kano say, that English this year has been a national crisis. You know, most of the schools, most of the candidates who sat to the WASSCE didn't really get the results required for them to be admitted to the university because of the English language. What are your views on that?
Well, I can say it's the same thing, yeah. The English performance is very poor. Lots of students complain about it. I don't know why. Science, commercial, art, no difference.
Okay, so when you were taking the WASSCE, did you notice anything, especially when you're in the exams hall taking the English exams?
Anything like what?
Like, let's say perhaps malpractice, because sometimes when bad results like that come out with regards to a particular subject, perhaps it's because the WAEC noticed some malpractice going on. Did you notice anything like that?
Well, as for me, I noticed nothing like that, because I was focused on what I was doing. I had no time for others, I was just focused on my work.
Okay, so before you go, how did this affect you? Because you sound very brilliant and you seem like you have a good control over your English, but then this same subject is what's stopping you from going to the college, despite the fact that you had good credits in the other subjects.
Well, it really affected me, yeah, because I want to do law, I want to study law, but because of the English, I just have to sit my exam.
Okay, Elizabeth, I wish you all the best in the next one. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Alex.
Okay, so Mr. Alex, can you tell viewers the subject that you teach?
Well, I'm a primary teacher.
Okay, so Mr. Alex, the WASSCE results have just been published, and due to the analysis, it was recorded that 74% of students passed, but then something around 11% of the same candidates got only English language. I mean, how do you think this reflects on the education system in the country?
Well, it creates a bad signal more when it comes to the quality education the government is talking about. Because out of 100%, according to what I heard, 11% of pupils pass English, got credit in English. So you see, it reflects back to the free quality education. But nevertheless, I'm encouraging pupils or students to study very hard for them to make it up in the next academic or next year exam.
So what message would you give to the university, because they made the policy that a student must pass English with at least a C6 for them to be admitted to the various universities?
Well, that is the policy and it has been laid down. So except otherwise, maybe they'll have to come back and sit down and see what they will do so that they will at least reduce the grade that they want in English language. So that maybe with that, some people will be fortunate to go to the university again. But if not that, many of them will be left out or they will come back to take the exam.
Hi viewers, I am Elizabeth Dagbe.
Okay, so Elizabeth, you'll be taking the WASSCE this year, and of course the results for your predecessors have just been announced. How do you feel about what you've heard so far about the results?
Well, actually, to be frank enough, the results is not very encourageable because 11% we are able to acquire their English language. So, as to me, it is a motivation for us to do more in the sense to change this outform, this thing that has just happened, 11%. I think our regime, it will be 11% that will fail and 85% will pass, including having their math and English language and all other subjects.
Okay, so I'm very sure that you must have interacted with the candidates who sat to the WASSCE last year. Speaking to them, did you notice that they had struggles when it comes to English language?
Yeah, exactly. They had struggles one way or the other. Because, first of all, the books were not available to them. Yes. And there were not enough trained and qualified teachers. It's not for our schools, okay, but for the outsiders there, especially for the government schools, to be precise. Yeah.
Okay, so what message would you like to send to your colleagues who will be taking the WASSCE this year with you?
All I want to say is hard work, persistence, and determination. You don't need to be heartbroken because or afraid because this year we have several masses of failure. But if you work hard and you have the determination that you are going to make it, just make sure you study hard because hard work brings success. When you study hard, you are going to emerge as the winner.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth.
You're welcome.
Viewers, this is where we draw the curtain down for today's edition of the program. Don't forget the program you've been following is KID-AFAN Salone Discovery in Education with me, Amza Toure. On behalf of our executive producer, Dr. Aisatu Kakejalo, our camera operator, Mohammed Sky Bangura, until we meet again for another edition, peace.